Now we will learn about the power in inference as a decision. This is important topic, so we will learn in details. So power, when we draw conclusion from a significance test, we hope our conclusion will be correct, but sometimes it will be wrong. There are two types of mistakes we can make. First is we reject null hypothesis when null hypothesis is true. So we have committed a type 1 error. If we fail to reject null hypothesis when null hypothesis is false, we have committed a type 2 error. So to understand, because we are saying this thing, fail to reject and when, but I will say that if you are going to write in by definition, this is very right. So we are going to write by definition, but to understand this properly, I took this example from Stack Exchange, and you can see it saying that type 1, I falsely think the alternate hypothesis is true. So here is, there is only one false, and this is type 1 error because null hypothesis was true, but you falsely think that alternate hypothesis is true. But in type 2 analysis, I falsely think the alternate hypothesis is false. Now here are two falses, and this is type 2 error. I will also like to give an example because in generally we give an example of related to crime for null hypothesis and alternate hypothesis. So for null hypothesis, we can say that defendant is innocent, while in alternate hypothesis, we can say defendant is guilty. Now our type 1 error will be jury makes an error and say an innocent person goes to jail. This is type 1 error. And type 2 error is guilty people are set free. So type 2 error is wrong, but type 1 error is very wrong. So that's the difference in between type 1 and type 2 errors. So confusion matrix, you are going to see this type of confusion matrix in your data science course many times. So it's very important to understand why it's sometimes confusing, because it's sometimes when what we are taking on, we can say here, we can take this point here and we can take the conclusion part here. So the result would be somewhat different. So we will understand it in more details later. I also wrote an article about this, so I can share with you guys so you can understand from that too. But right now what we are going to understand is null hypothesis. So now this is the truth. That is the truth about the population, and that is the actual thing. That is, null is true and null is false. If null is false, it's already saying alternate is true. So we are just because we reject the null hypothesis or we fail to reject null hypothesis, we are just concentrating towards the null hypothesis. So either null hypothesis is true or it's false, and we know about the truth about the population. And here we are going through our tests or whatever you are going to do for getting the conclusion. Here is your conclusion. Now your null is true and you reject the null hypothesis. It's type 1 error. But null hypothesis is false and you are going to reject null hypothesis. That is the correct conclusion. Now second point is null hypothesis is true and you fail to reject null hypothesis. That is the correct conclusion. Now null hypothesis is false but you fail to reject null hypothesis. That is type 2 error. So its terms are somewhat confusing, but as I already told you in earlier slides, you can understand or learn it by different examples, but you have to say the same definition, because we cannot say we are going to accept alternate hypothesis, but we can understand it by the different examples. And this is very common topic, and even in certain interviews they can ask you what is type 1 error and type 2 error. So this is a very common thing to ask, so you can make sure that you understood this, and if still there is some confusion, please ask me. So power, we already learned about the type 1 error. The probability of type 1 error is the probability of rejecting null hypothesis when it is really true. This is exactly the significance level of the test, that is alpha. The significance level alpha of any fixed label test is the probability of type 1 error. That is, alpha is the probability that the test will reject the null hypothesis when null hypothesis is in fact true. Consider the consequences of type 1 error before choosing a significance label. Like in our earlier example, we got the value of 0.06. When our alpha was 0.05, we said that we failed to reject null hypothesis. But if we took the value of alpha as 0.1, what we could have said, because 0.06 is smaller than 0.1, we will say that we reject the null hypothesis. So therefore the value of alpha is very important, what you are going to take. A significance test makes a type 2 error when it fails to reject a null hypothesis that really is false. There are many values of the parameter satisfying the alternative hypothesis. We can calculate the probability that a test does reject null hypothesis when any specific alternative is true. This probability is called power of the test against the specific alternative. So we will learn about this power, because right now by reading this you will not be able to understand it. So we will understand it in more details in later slides. So we will understand these topics in more detail by these diagrams, and the difference of both of these diagrams are given below. So first we will see this. So we are going to consider this figure right now and just ignore this yellow color. That is, whatever is written, just ignore it. Just consider that you got something from here to here. So you have already understood that if any value, that is here it is alpha significance level, and right now it's showing alpha value is 0.05. So any value, p value that you are getting below 0.05, you are going to reject the null hypothesis. Whereas if any p value that is larger than 0.05, you are going to fail to reject the null hypothesis. Then now we consider this alternate hypothesis, and similarly, like we were using alpha, here it is beta, and in the beta we can say that beta is the probability of type 2 error in a statistical hypothesis test. But now the most important thing what we were learning is the power. So 1 minus beta is power, and we can say is the power is the probability of detecting an effect given that the effect is really there. So it is the probability, in other terms we can say, of rejecting the null hypothesis when it is in fact false. Now we will see this confusion matrix. We earlier made this confusion matrix here, but what I was trying to tell at that time, what you are going to take in row area and what you are going to take in column area, this would change somewhat these places of these values. It's not going to change the values, but the places of the values. So right now, as we have seen this diagram, now we will see this diagram. Now this is your conclusion, and this is the reality. Earlier what was that? Reality was on the upper side and the conclusion was on the right side, but our errors are in the same position. So here, when reality null is true and you are rejecting null hypothesis, then it is type 1 error, and this is the probability alpha. When null hypothesis is false and you fail to reject null hypothesis, it is type 2 error and its probability is beta. And now we will see rejecting null hypothesis. When null hypothesis is false, that is the right conclusion because we are rejecting, and this is false. This is known as power, and its value is 1 minus beta. So we will keep this in mind. Rejecting null hypothesis when null hypothesis is false. So everything is right here. We are going to get the correct conclusion, but what is the probability? Probability is 1 minus beta, and we call the value as power. So here are the z critical values, and here are few critical values, and that are dependent on the alpha values. So we will understand this, and most probably we should keep in mind alpha at 0.05 because this is the most used alpha level. So here z critical value for left tail test when alpha is equal to 0.01. So in the left tail test it means here, and left, if it's left tail it would be negative, as we have earlier seen in our different weak classes. So you can see that z critical value for left hand all are in negative, and alpha on different values, giving the different values of z critical value. So after this we can see the similar values, but these are in the right hand, so these are the positive values, and they are all similar values, and these are all to the corresponding alpha level. And here we can see that z critical value for two tail test, that is here, but we can see that it's 2.58, but it should be two values because this is two tail test. So it would be one is right one would be 2.58 and the left one would be minus 2.58. Similarly 1.96, and on the left side it would be minus 1.96. So here's the example from book. Can a 6-month exercise program increase the total body bone mineral content of young women? A team of researchers is planning a study to examine this question. Based on the result of a previous study, they are willing to assume that sigma is equal to 2 for the percentage in TBBMC over the 6-month period. They also believe that a change in TBBMC of 1% is important. So they would like to have a reasonable chance of detecting a change this large or larger. Is 25 subject a large enough sample for this project? So we will answer this question by calculating the power of the significance test that will be used to evaluate the data to be collected. The calculation consists of 3 steps. First, state null and alternate hypothesis and the significance level alpha. Find the value of x bar that will lead us to reject null hypothesis. Calculate the probability of observing these values of x bar when the alternative is true. So first step is the null hypothesis is that the exercise program has no effect on TBBMC. In other words, the mean percent change is 0. The alternative is that exercise is beneficial, that is the mean change is positive. Formally we have null hypothesis mu is equal to 0 and alternative is mu is greater than 0. Alternative of interest is mu is equal to 1% increase in TBBMC. A 5% test of significance will be used. So our second step is the z-test rejects null hypothesis at alpha 0.05 level. Whenever z is equal to x bar minus 0 divided by 2 by root 25. 2 is standard deviation and n is 25, and we will take root, and we will calculate this value in corresponding to x bar. And we already have seen that for alpha 0.05 our z critical value is 1.645. So keeping this value here, we will calculate for x bar, and we got our x bar, that is 0.658. So any value that is bigger than this value would be, we will reject the null hypothesis. Now here this event has probability 0.05 of occurring when the population mean mu is 0. Now because we are calculating for the mu when it's 0, now we will calculate the same because we are taking for the alternate hypothesis 1%. So we are going to calculate for it, and we got the value 0.658 minus 1, and we are doing the same calculation for the alternate, and here we got the value 0.80, and this is the power. So we will see in illustration. So now here we saw earlier that for our null hypothesis we calculated from the z critical value 1.645 x bar value, that was 0.658, at alpha 0.05, and any value greater than this we will reject the null hypothesis. Now after that, for the alternate hypothesis where mean we took for the 1% increase, we took mean as 1, and for that when we calculated putting 0.658 value, we got power, that is 0.80. So this figure illustrates the power with the sampling distribution of x bar when mu is equal to 1. The significance test rejects the null hypothesis that exercise has no effect on TBB-MC 80% of the time if the true effect of exercise is a 1% increase in TBB-MC. If the true effect of exercise is greater percent increase, the test will have greater power. It will reject with a higher probability. So here is one more example. Let x denote the height of a randomly Penn State students. Assume that x is normally distributed with unknown mean mu and standard deviation 9. Take a random sample of n is equal to 25 students, so that after setting the probability of committing a type 1 error at alpha 0.05, we can test the null hypothesis. Now our null hypothesis is mu is equal to 170. Against the alternative hypothesis, it's saying that mu is greater than 170. Now we have to calculate the power for mu 175. So now alpha is 0.05, and we got that this is one-tailed test because this is saying greater than, our hypothesis is greater than. So we have seen using the same formula and we are going to calculate for x bar, and we got the value, because here we are keeping the value for z 1.645, and we got the value 122.961. So now we should reject the null hypothesis when the observed sample mean is 172.961 or greater. We get, for the power we will calculate, and we got 172.961 minus and this value, because we are calculating power for mean 175. So we are going to put the value, and we got the power 0.8713. Now in the illustration we can see what we have earlier seen, that this is the at the corresponding alpha 0.05, we got the value 172.961. Any value greater than 172.961, we will reject the null hypothesis, but we wanted to calculate when mu is equal to 175. For that we got the power 0.871. We will see one more example. Water quality testing. The Delhi laboratory is drinking water testing and analysis service. One of the contaminant it tests for is lead. Lead enters drinking water through corrosion of plumbing materials such as lead pipes, fixtures, and solders. The service known that their analysis procedure is unbiased but not perfectly precise, so the laboratory analyzes each water sample 3 times and report the mean results. The repeated measurements follow a normal distribution quite closely, and the standard deviation of this distribution is the property of analytical procedure and is known to be 0.25 parts per billion. The Delhi laboratory has been asked by a university to evaluate a claim that the drinking water in the student union has a lead concentration above the Environmental Protection Agency's action level of 15 ppb. Because the true concentration of the sample is the mean mu, the population of repeated analysis, the hypotheses are, now this is the whole question, but the main thing is mean is 15, and we just want to get alternative hypothesis that it would be more than 15, but because it can be either way, so we are taking it as two-side alternate, and sigma is a 0.25. So we will go ahead from here. Now we are looking for the question. It is saying for the 1% level of significance, what is the power of this test against the specific alternative, that is mu is equal to 15.50. The test rejects null hypothesis when z is greater than or equal to 2.576. The test statistics is 2.576 is the critical value for 1% level, because this is a two-sided test. So there would be two values. One is 2.576 and the other is minus 2.576. And Z formula we will apply, and we got X bar values, one for positive tail, and that is 15.37 with the same formula. And again we got the different value, that is from minus 2.576, and the value is 14.63. And these both are the disjoint events, so the power is sum of their probabilities computing, assuming that the alternative mu 15.50 is true. We found that X greater than or equal to this value we are going to first calculate, 15.37, and we calculated like earlier, and we got the value of Z minus 0.90, and we got P value for that 0.8159. Similarly, we calculated for 14.63 and we found that the value of P is 0. So after adding it, we will again get 0.8159. So we can say power is 81%, almost 82%. Now here is the alternate theory, and this is the power, that is 82% almost. And here we can see that we are going to reject, and the other tail which we could have considered, but it's 0. So either we are considering or not, it's not making much difference. But yeah, we took into the consideration and did all the analysis and got that it's 0 and added to it, and it doesn't make any difference. So here we can see our power is 0.8159. So we have already seen about the two-tail test for the power. And here we can see one more thing, because earlier we got the value 0, so we were not able to visualize that easily. But here I got an example for us, although it's not very common, and even in the exams you are not going to get for the power calculation. Even if you are going to get, it would be one tail. So I just want to inform you guys, if you got two-tail test, what do? You will do the similar thing we did in the last example. But what we will do here, this is our power in green, and because you can see, because it is two tails, so our null hypothesis and alternate hypothesis is very near, and it's covering each other because mean is also very nearby. So here we can see that because we can reject null hypothesis on this alpha level, so for the alternate distribution, we can see this part, this is smaller part that is in green, will be power 2. So we will add this and this. Earlier we were doing the same thing, but we got the value of 0. But if we don't get the value 0, we will get the p value, and we'll see we are getting the area for this part, not this part. If you are getting this part, you have to minus it from 1. So that's all I think I have to share with you guys. So yeah, we are done. So how we can increase the power? Suppose we have performed a power calculation and found that the power is too small. 4 ways to increase power are: increase the significance level alpha. It is more difficult to reject a null hypothesis with a larger alpha level. And consider a particular alternate value of mu that is farther from the null value. Values of mu that are farther from the hypothesized value are easier to detect. Increase the sample size. Whenever we are going to increase the sample size, power will be increased too. So more data will provide better information about the sample average, so we have a better change of distinguishing values of mu. Decrease in standard deviation. Improving the measuring process and restricting attention to a subpopulation are possible ways to decrease standard deviation. The common practice of testing hypothesis. First, state null and alternate hypothesis as a test of significance. Think of the problem as a decision problem, so the probabilities of type 1 and type 2 errors are relevant. Consider only tests in which the probability of type 1 error is no greater than a specified alpha. And among these tests, select a test that makes the probability of type 2 error as small as possible. So this is just a kind of snapshot you are getting for all the work. So this is just a common practice of testing hypothesis.